Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another inspired reading from the Dungeon Master's Guide. I believe it's on page 124 or 224. Let me double check, guys, just so you can follow along. Yep, 224. This afternoon. Sorry, guys. I'm a little ahead of myself. Today I'm going to go over another classic, possibly the most well-known classic of all time, at least by Edgar Rice Burroughs, that being Tarzan of the Apes. And you may be asking yourself, how is this inspired reading for the Dungeon Master's Guide? Despite what you may think or may have read about it, Tarzan is one badass fighter. Plain and simple. Running through the jungle with nothing but a knife and a loincloth, he tackles some of the most fearsome real-life opponents you could possibly imagine, from gorillas and tigers and lions and bears and oh my, to all sorts of various human adversaries of all walks of life. This story is a lot different than I expected when I first read it as a young kid, having watched Ron Ely every afternoon or Saturdays or Sundays, whenever it was on, the old TV show you guys may remember. It starts with his growing up as an abandoned more or less child, left more or less to die because his parents were killed, and he was raised, of course, by apes. But this series runs, I believe, 24 to 30 different paperback books, going on and on for all kinds of different adventures, even cameoing in other stories like Pellucidar, and I think there's some other line of Burroughs books where Tarzan makes an appearance. These adventures are absolutely perfect for Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, one-shots, what have you. It's also good reading for things like, believe it or not, Top Secret, Boot Hill, Traveler, lots of, more or less low-tech sci-fi campaigns, mostly because of all the different adventures and all the different places Tarzan journeys to, both above and below the earth. Different countries, different environments, not just jungles, but I believe some desert and swamp environments. But all the different stories are just chock full of great ideas, especially when he goes from different ruins and traveling to different ruins and different caves and different places all throughout where he lives. There are just so many absolute great ideas in here, plot twists, and overall themes to the the particular book in question. Whether it's to the Lost City, or, like I said before, to the world inside the earth. You guys may be familiar with some of the old movies and things like that. This series of books is just absolutely, I really can't recommend it much more, other than, of course, John Carter and a few other books that I've read previous to this month. You're going to be surprised at how different this is from all of the Tarzan stories you may have seen. Like I said, Ron Ely's TV show, Disney's cartoons, Legend of Greystoke, all of them pale in comparison. And like I was talking about last night, they try to jam pack 20, 30 books into a 2-hour movie, or a 30-minute episode, or an hour and a half cartoon. They just absolutely pale in comparison. One of the things I like most about the not just the character of Tarzan, but the stories, are how he figures things out. Being what for all intents and purposes is just a basic fighter without armor in a D&D sense. The way he figures out not just simple things like how to read, which that alone was absolutely amazing on how he learned how to read on his own with the books that his parents left behind, from the little bit of kids books that were there up to much more complicated books, because his parents were pretty intelligent. But the way he figures out traps and snares, and getting out of sticky situations, and how to build things, and just there's just so much that will give you ideas on how your characters can obviously get into sticky situations, and then extricate themselves from those same situations. Even if you only just read the very first one, it'll open up so much more than anything that's been on a screen, let's say. Obviously there were some kids books that sort of squished these books down into a lot smaller and more chopped up versions of this story. But this one right here, considering that it was written really close to 100 years ago, is still valid today, and I still totally get why it was in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I hope you guys will give it a chance, give it a read, at least the first one, so that anytime you hear or see that famous Tarzan yell, you'll be able to journey back to this book, not this exact paperback book because I'm keeping it, but to whatever copy of Tarzan you might have, and you'll realize that no one has really done it justice yet. Obviously they can't squeeze, what is it, close to 300 pages, 245 pages into 120 minutes, or even a couple of seasons of a TV show. They really can't put all of the absolute incredible storytelling that Edgar Rice Burroughs was so famous for. And considering how famous this book is, known the world over in close to 100 different languages, one of the most popular book of all times. I hope you guys will, take my advice, grab a copy of it. There's tons of them out there. It's not highly sought after. Maybe number one is because it's number one. But, do what I do, buy lots of books. Find, 7, 8 books that say Tarzan. You'll probably find a number one in there, and then go from there. If you like it and you make it into, a dozen or so of these books, you won't be sorry. I'm actually not at the end of the last book yet. I still have a few books to go, but I'm looking forward to it. Just simple, good old fashioned, pulpy, wonderful fighting and figuring stuff out, and of course, some romance. What story of Tarzan would be complete without Jane? But there's so much to be experienced through these books, and I hope you guys will, like I said, give them a chance. Leave a comment if you've read them already. Which one was your favorite? If you've never read them, let me know when you finally do get around to reading the first one and what you think of it. And until next time, which will be in just a couple hours, I think we're going to be over with Bruce Lombardo, and by we I mean the little guy and myself. Hope to see you guys there. Hope to see you Thursday as well for our second craft of the month in the John Carter / Edgar Rice Burroughs themed month. See you guys real soon. Have a great day. Bye.